Have we finally gotten to the point that condo prices have come to a screeching halt here in the city of Toronto? Well, we're going to talk about that and a lot more. And the last thing I'm going to discuss in today's video is really good news for buyers. So make sure to stick around until the end. My name is Tom Storey, and I appreciate you being back here on this video and on this channel. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community. We are less than 500 people away from 10,000, which is just so cool to see over the years of me doing this, how we built up this community of really nice people. I've got to meet a lot of you as well, and make sure to like this video also. Now, 50% of 2023 is already done, which is crazy to think. I have the data for the first 5 months of the year, and I'm going to have June's data very soon. But just from what I've seen on the ground level, I can probably already guess what June is going to look like. It's going to be pretty similar to May, but I actually think May was that peak month. We are slowly seeing more listings come to the market. Obviously, the Bank of Canada announcement in June is going to impact consumer confidence as well. If they go up in July again, I think the summer is going to be fairly quiet. I still think it's going to be better than last year because last year's summer was like historically quiet, but I want to talk about a few things that I've noticed in the condo market. Now, the data is great. I love the data. But because I get to speak with buyers and sellers on a daily basis, and we list and sell a ton of condos, I'm also going to give you kind of like just the conversations I'm having, right? The numbers will say one thing, but here's what people are actually thinking. Now, I want to go over 5 things that I have noticed in the condo market at this point in time as we are heading into the summer of 2023. Number 1, I believe that the peak already happened. So if you're a seller looking to sell your condo, I think you've missed it by about a month. I'm guessing, this is my best guess, that May was the peak of the condo market this year. Now, this is all going to be based on where inventory goes in the future. But basically, every condo I listed in May had multiple offers. We were doing offer dates. We were getting prices that we didn't expect, and the sellers were very happy. And the sellers were very happy, And the properties that I've listed now in June, well, they're still selling, but it's not getting the type of action I saw in May. Like we said before, yeah, of course, the rate hike would have had something to do with that, which then takes me to point number 2, offer dates. Offer dates were working like a charm for most of the year. Now, offer dates typically only work when you have under 2 months of inventory because buyers are not willing to play these games if they have lots to look at, but they didn't have lots to look at. And I actually had a condo in King West that got 22 offers in May, right? Like we were not expecting that at all. I thought maybe it would get 2 or 3. So this was happening a lot. Now, offer dates right now, I'd say are working half the time. So they're not working all the time. So you are seeing a lot more of the property that listed at $599 that thought they were going to get $650, got no offers or got a low offer, didn't take any, canceled the listing and came back to the market at $650,000 as a brand new listing because it didn't work. And now the advice that I'm giving a lot of sellers moving forward is maybe let's just not do one. And I think, the viewers of this channel will say, yeah, that's good. I don't think we need to do them as buyers. And I would agree, but it has been working, right? Like if you put yourself in the seller's shoes, the buyers will say they don't like it from their words, but their actions were telling the sellers, hey, you should do this, or you might be leaving money on the table. Now, condo inventory, at least in downtown Toronto, was hovering around 2 in May. I think June's numbers are going to be closer to 3. So fundamentally, still a seller's market, but it's changing slightly. Now, the third thing that I noticed, and this is just from some of my own listings, is that older 2-bedroom condos, for whatever reason, are very much still in high demand. Now, I'll put older in quotations here. What that means to me is buildings that are 20 to 30 years old. I actually had one in a building that was 31 years old, but I had 3 examples of this, properties that we brought to the market that we put out at a price that we thought was reasonable, but got multiple offers and sold a lot higher than we were expecting. I'm not entirely sure if it's just the downsizer market or the fact that these newer condos are getting smaller and smaller, because these properties we listed didn't have low maintenance fees, right? Like they were older buildings, so the maintenance fees were higher and they were a little bit outdated, but I think people just looked at the space and they're like, wow, this is a lot of space, compared to these newer buildings that's like not half the size, but maybe 70% of the size for the same price. So I've noticed, at least so far in 2023, and as recently as 2 weeks ago for one of our own listings, is that these older 2-bedrooms are still doing very, very well. What is also doing well is the under $750,000 range for condo prices. They are still moving. Now, up to this point in the year, almost 75% of all the sales that have happened for all condos in the GTA are happening sub $750,000. So that makes sense. This is where the demand is. This is what people can afford, frankly, right? And this is where most of the sales are actually happening. So what we've noticed is that once you cross that threshold and it's more expensive, you're just dealing with a much smaller pool of buyers. I met with sellers 3 days ago, and they had a condo that was worth between $900,000 and $1 million. And we did the math. We're like, okay, what percentage of condos have actually sold over $900,000 in the city so far this year? And that number was 12%. So we're dealing with a smaller pool of buyers where these more kind of affordable and entry level, I know that word is subjective, but these entry level condos are still moving very, very well. Which takes me to the final point of today's video. Opportunities for buyers. I'm not talking about speculators. I'm not talking about flippers. I'm talking about people that don't want to rent anymore, don't want to live with their parents anymore, don't want to have a roommate anymore, and want to get into the market because they have that 5 to 10 year perspective, okay? I'm not talking about interest rates today. I'm talking about where are things going to be in the future if you want to get into the housing market. And I get it. Real estate agent says it's a great time for buyers. Just hear me out for a second. Okay, so most of the buyers that we're working with right now are not taking variable rates, the brand new buyers coming to the market. And if they weren't involved in the last 2 years, they're not even scoffing at the rates as some of our other clients that kind of waited and are now trying to jump in now being like, oh my God, I can't believe how much they've changed. They're brand new to this. They're like, okay, this is what it is. This is what I can afford. I think if you see a rate hike in July, the market will cool off even more. And I think it's very clear that we have a high possibility that's going to happen. And if that happens, prices may drop off a little bit or at least kind of hang tight. They're not going to go up anymore if that rate hike happens, at least for a period of time. And I think there's opportunities for buyers. Are you going to have less competition? You're going to be able to get financing conditions in there, status certificate conditions in there. You're also not going to have to compete, and there's not going to be as many offer dates, and you can negotiate. So I think if you have that long-term perspective and you know what you want, I would actually say that you're going to get it at maybe a better price than you were over the past few months. Because like I said, my first point in this video is I do feel like the condo market has already peaked in 2023. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you found it valuable. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. Have a great day. My name is Tom Storey. And remember, home is where your story begins.